if you think about it, the Caribbean region and all the islands of the Caribbean region are very, what I would call, climate sensitive. And that is to say that everything we do really has a climate component built into it. So if you think about what our major economic activities are, tourism, very dependent on climate. Agriculture, very dependent on climate. And then kind of just to cap it off, or the icing on the cake, is that we are small. And so a lot of our infrastructure lies within a few miles from the coast, which increases our sensitivity to climate. And so because we are so sensitive, in truth, we are vulnerable to any time the climate will change. And we see this in the short term. If there's a hurricane, wow, we feel the effects. If we're vulnerable in the short term, then very likely we'll be vulnerable to long-term changes in climate. And so what do we need to do? We need somehow to be able to anticipate what those long-term changes in climate will be, so that we can better plan for the ways in which we will be affected because of our sensitivity. That's what the climate models are doing.
The PRECI model, PRECI is an acronym. It means Providing Regional Climates for Impact Studies. It is a regional climate model that takes the coarser, lower resolution information and downscales it to a level and a resolution which is more appropriate to small countries like islands. So as a result, it provides better and more useful resolution data for the Caribbean. It takes the outputs from the global climate models, the larger models, the global scale models, and it reproduces it at a finer resolution. But it uses pretty much the same inputs, your broad scale meteorological variables. So really what the inputs that go into a global climate model aren't substantially different from those that go into the regional model like PRECI. Rainfall, temperature, winds, humidity conditions, almost any information that you want to put into the model. It can also replicate for you variables such as sea surface temperature, which is also important for the Caribbean because of the impact, for example, on corals.
Dealing with what it is that we have to ask, the changes that we are talking about, are they likely to be changes which will have any kind of impact, positive or negative, on whatever sector it is that you're considering? For example, if we look at sea level rise, we talk about sea level rise. Does it mean that it's going to overtake an island like Grand Cayman? Maybe not. But it could translate into other things. Rises in sea level could end up producing loss of beachfront property. I think it has come to the point where it has been realized that we are all in this together. It might not be this generation which gets the worst of it, but we are in the process of things happening. And the decisions which are being made now are decisions which in some cases are small steps, but they are all steps towards achieving the same outcome.
Well, we hope that now that we have a better understanding of the PRECI model and the outputs, particularly as it relates to precipitation and temperature changes that are going to happen in the region over the next, say, 50 to 100 years, that we'll have a better level of confidence in terms of using that information for our various adaptation planning to climate change in various sectors, be it in our national roads planning, our tourism sector planning, for water resources and what it may mean obviously for agriculture by extension, and in a number of other areas that affect our daily lives. So this workshop and the information that we're gathering from it will help us in a plethora of different areas. We have enough information being produced out of these regional climate models, particularly the PRECI model that has been used extensively in the Caribbean, to start using it at agency level for water management plans, looking at revising legislation where it might be necessary for us to better adapt to a changing climate in the future, which could be drier at certain times of the year than we have typically seen in the past 30 or 40 years, and conversely it could be even wetter at certain times of the year. So what does that all mean for stormwater management planning and the way we build our roads and new subdivisions? So that's the type of information, hopefully, that these outputs from the models will give us and have the agencies use them in their own discrete planning, but also from a national level, and ensure that we have comprehensive planning towards adaptation for climate change.